Welcome back to the labyrinth of European bureaucracy. Grab a cup of tea, or perhaps a highly regulated glass of wine, because today we are diving into one of the most contentious topics in the entire European Union. We are talking about standardization. It is a word that instantly makes eyelids heavy and sends shivers down the spines of tabloid journalists everywhere. But I assure you, it is the invisible glue holding this entire continent together. Imagine a world where your hairdryer only works in your hometown, where a screw bought in Paris simply refuses to fit a table manufactured in Berlin, and where you need 14 different cables just to survive a weekend trip. That chaotic nightmare was essentially Europe before the single market was fully realized. If you want goods to flow freely across 27 different countries, you need everyone to agree on the exact same set of rules. This brings us to the concept of harmonization. It is the noble, if incredibly dry, pursuit of ensuring that a product deemed safe and acceptable in one member state is equally safe and acceptable in all the others. But creating a uniform standard for absolutely everything sold across an entire continent is a monumental task. And sometimes, in the pursuit of perfect logistical harmony, the bureaucracy produces something that looks completely ridiculous from the outside. Enter the legendary myth of the straight banana. If you lived anywhere near a British tabloid in the 1990s, you would have believed that Brussels had entirely lost its collective mind. The stories claimed that unelected European bureaucrats were banning curved bananas. They said inspectors would roam the supermarkets with protractors, confiscating any fruit that dared to have a natural bend. It was a brilliant piece of fiction. It fueled endless outrage, painted the EU as a tyrannical nanny state, and made for excellent comedy. But naturally, the actual truth was deeply boring and highly logical. The regulation in question was Commission Regulation EC number 2257-94. It did not ban curved bananas, it simply established quality standards for bananas imported into the European market. You see, agricultural trade relies on bulk shipping. When a supermarket in Vienna orders a shipment of Class 1 bananas from a supplier halfway across the world, they need to know exactly what they are paying for. Bananas are shipped in standard-sized boxes. If the bananas in that box are wildly different shapes, extremely curved, or completely straight, they do not pack efficiently. They bruise, they spoil, and the buyer loses money. The industry itself, the farmers, the packers, and the supermarkets literally begged the European Commission to create a standardized grading system so they could trade efficiently without inspecting every single box. The regulation merely stated that highest tier, Class 1 bananas should not have abnormal curvature. If a banana was extra bendy, it was just classified as Class 2 and sold perfectly legally, usually for a few cents less. No fruit was banned. No one was arrested for possessing a curved banana. It was just an agricultural sorting metric that got twisted into a massive anti-European propaganda campaign. But while the banana regulation was heavily mocked, there are other instances where European standardization has forced entire global industries to bend to its will. Let us fast forward to a much more recent and much more impactful bureaucratic victory: the battle against the tangled, proprietary nightmare of electronic chargers. Not long ago, every single mobile phone manufacturer had their own unique charging port. If you lost your cable, you had to embark on a desperate quest to find someone with the exact specific brand and model of phone you owned. This was not just incredibly annoying for consumers, it was an environmental catastrophe. Millions of perfectly functional chargers were thrown into landfills every single year just because someone upgraded their device. The European Union decided this was completely unacceptable. If the single market was to function properly and sustainably, there needed to be a single, universal standard for charging electronic devices. The solution was the USB-C mandate. The Commission proposed a directive requiring all new mobile phones, tablets, and digital cameras sold in the EU to be equipped with a USB Type-C charging port. Naturally, certain gigantic technology corporations based in California threw a massive fit. They argued that forcing a common standard would stifle innovation and hurt consumers. Stifle innovation is corporate translation for we make billions of dollars selling you proprietary cables that break every 6 months, and we do not want to stop. But the beautiful thing about the European Union is that it is a market of nearly 500 million wealthy consumers. If you want to sell your very expensive smartphones here, you have to play by our rules. The tech giants lobbied hard, but the EU stood firm. The mandate passed, and just like that, the proprietary ports vanished, and the world was forced to adopt a universal standard. Now, you can use the exact same cable to charge your laptop, your phone, and your headphones. It is elegant, it reduces electronic waste, and it saves consumers money. This is what EU standardization looks like when it works perfectly. It takes a massive, fragmented mess created by free market greed and forces it into a shape that actually serves the public. You can see this philosophy practically everywhere if you know where to look. Take the CE mark, for example. You will find it on almost every product you own, from toys to medical devices. Those 2 little letters stand for Conformité Européenne. It is essentially an invisible passport for goods. It means the manufacturer guarantees the product meets the strict safety, health, and environmental requirements of the EU. Before the CE mark, a manufacturer had to get their product tested and certified separately in Germany, then again in France, then again in Spain. It was a logistical nightmare that drove prices up for everyone. By creating one single, rigorous standard, the EU removed thousands of overlapping national regulations. They replaced chaos with a highly complex, yet unified system of rules. Is the system perfect? Absolutely not. It is slow, it is highly bureaucratic, and sometimes the rules are so complex that even experts like myself need a very strong cup of coffee just to read the summary. It takes years of agonizing debate, countless committee meetings, and endless compromises between 27 different nations just to agree on the definition of a standard cable. But the alternative is returning to the dark ages of carrying 5 different chargers on vacation and hoping your toaster does not spontaneously combust because it was wired to a different country's safety standard. The bureaucracy is not there just to annoy you. It is the price we pay for a continent that functions as a single, cohesive entity. It is the boring machinery that keeps the grand experiment alive. So, the next time someone complains about Brussels interfering with the curvature of their fruit, remind them that they are currently using one cable to charge all their devices without living in a landfill. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of European standardization. The EU remains a fascinating beast, and we have only just begun to scratch the surface of its paperwork. Next time, we will tackle something you encounter every single day on the internet. We will decipher the General Data Protection Regulation and answer the ultimate question: why must we constantly accept cookies? Until then, stay compliant.